Good morning. How are you? Beautiful. You like the new lights? All right, there we go. So it is. Have you ever been driving? Most of us have, and suddenly realize you're at your destination and you have no idea how you got there. It's kind of a scary feeling, isn't it? When we recognize how much power our mind has to be able to drive our car while we're over here thinking about something else, but life keeps moving forward, doesn't it? It keeps going on. This week, we are wrapping up our Power of Thought series with my message Awareness Changes Everything. And we're going to look at the practice of present moment awareness. And just like that driving experience, our attention can wander from the past to the future, but the only real place of power is now, right here. When we wander outside the present moment, we're disconnected from conscious awareness because consciousness exists now and now, right? When we wake up after wandering, coming back into the present, we reconnect with the flow of life because the flow of life is always now, right? Right here, right now. Not in the past, not in the future, but now. The power of thought is really a core teaching tenet, idea of the philosophy of the science of mind. Our thoughts are the guidance system of our lives. You may have heard the idea if you change how you think, your life might just change. Or maybe you're more familiar with change your thinking, change your life, that Ernest Holmes said. But that's the concept, right? Ernest Holmes, of course, is the founder and the author of the Science of Mind teaching that we teach here. And he taught that our thoughts have creative power and directly shape our reality. He believed that because we're made in the image of universal creative mind, that we have the ability to use our thoughts to create our experiences, our circumstances. And that's including our health, our prosperity, and our happiness. Now, most of us are great in our conscious thoughts, aren't we? We plan, we make goals, we have destinations, we are ready to go. We've got it going on. And then sometimes something happens that derails all that. It doesn't happen as fast as we thought it was. It doesn't happen the way we thought it was. It doesn't happen at all, maybe. Sometimes that happens. And this is usually because of thoughts and beliefs that we have in that subconscious realm, in that subconscious part of our mind, the place that the things that wander off when our mind wanders. Who goes with us? Where do we go? Worry, fear, are those our companions when we're wandering off somewhere? Perhaps it is unworthiness that we wander around with when our minds go. These are our dance partners that occupy a lot of our waking hours. Very high percentage is in that distracted sort of subconscious realm over here dancing with those fears and worries and unworthiness that's in the subconscious area. This is the power of thought. And the reason that Holmes' statement, change your thinking, both your conscious and your subconscious thinking, which is one, remember, and your life will change too. That's why he said that. He was teaching us about this power of thought. So I know this can be a very intellectual and technical subject. So I want to use a real life sort of example. Have you seen the movie Pretty Woman? Yeah. In the beginning of the film, Vivian, the main character, Julia Roberts' character, is barely surviving. You might say it's moment to moment. She's moving through a world that shows her what she's worth. It also shows her what she's not worth, doesn't it? Her environment reflects her beliefs. It's transactional, uncertain, and defined by limitation. Well, she navigates it pretty well, but there's no expectation of it getting any better. Then something unexpected happens, an interruption in her pattern of being. Out of the blue, Edward shows up, Richard Gere. He doesn't just change her surroundings with luxury hotels and fancy clothes and fine dining. He becomes a mirror for her. He becomes a mirror for her. At first, she tries to fit into this world as if it's just another costume that she's going to put on temporarily, another impersonation for a few bucks. But slowly, something more important begins to shift. Her self awareness. Her self awareness begins to shift in this new environment. She begins to see herself differently. She stops negotiating from survival mode and starts choosing from a place of self awareness. Now, this movie's all wrapped up in romance and rom com and all that fun stuff, but there is a deeper truth here. You may not have gotten it when you saw it the first time, but nothing in her world changed until she did. Her world didn't change. She would still have been working with, what was her roommate's name? Kat, still doing their thing, but she changed. And so her world began to change. Awareness didn't just improve her life, it rewrote the rules that she was living by. She became aware of herself as something greater. She believed in possibility. She began to think new thoughts about herself and what could be possible. She chose to change her life. She picked her head up and she looked around and she went, there's more. There's more. And there's possibility. And that's how it works. When we decide to change, to see possibilities for our own lives, that's what we're studying this year. We're on a journey of life by design. All year long, we're designing a new life for ourselves to stop living by default. Mark Twain said, travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow mindedness. It's because it expands our awareness beyond what we think we know. I am guilty of that. I think I know. I think I know. So therefore, I'm living this way, right? Until suddenly there's a realization that, oops, there's more. It looks different. It's a different color. It's a different size. It's a different way. It's a different location. Anybody else have a whoops? It's it's more than I didn't know that. And we can change our life, we can change our living through those types of realizations. And that's what Vivian's character demonstrated in this movie for us. Understanding that we have the ability to use our thoughts to create our experiences an empowering realization. Holmes compares it, he suggests that when the human mind first, way back in time, first realized the power of thought, that was what transformed everything. That was what transformed the forward progression of the human race, was understanding the power of our own minds. To help us understand this, I want to dive into three of the core principles or ideas that Ernest Holmes taught. He taught us this about the power of thought. The first is thought as cause. Thought as cause. Your thoughts are the primary cause of your life circumstances. Now, if they happen to not be to your liking, don't worry. We can change them, okay? Don't no blame or shame or anything here. Just know that you have control. Our thoughts are our personal guidance, our personal GPS. I didn't bring my phone. Anybody have a phone that you've ever used your little map on? Okay, you know the little app I'm talking about? So you type in the name of your destination or the address, and boom, up pops multiple routes. Shortest, longest, less construction, whatever. Our thoughts are cause, just like typing in the destination is cause for the app to work, right? That's the cause. But then you get to choose, again, cause, you're choosing which direction, which route you want to take. And then this lovely voice comes on and just talk you right through your destination where you said you wanted to go. You're good, right? Well, the same thing is true of the universal law. We're telling it through our thoughts where to bring our good and what that good is, which route we want to take for our good. Your thoughts direct universal law. What are you giving it? What are you giving it? Again, that subconscious has got a lot going on. We wander around, we dance with those weird dance partners. What are you doing? What are you telling it? If you don't know, look around your life. Look around your life. Look at your surroundings, your mirror, the mirror, your surroundings are the mirror of your thoughts and reflect back to us what it is we're thinking, what it is we believe, how self aware we might be. And if you don't like what you see, no worries. Just change the input that you're doing to your GPS. Anybody heard the famous words of that IBM programmer back in the 60s? Garbage in, garbage out. Remember that? Well, he was speaking universal truth because what we put in to the law just says, okay, just like your GPS, if you type the wrong number on the address, are you going to the right address? So the same is true. So we correct that, and then the law gets straight then, right? The second core idea is personal agency. You are in control of your thought processes, and you have the right and the power to direct your thinking. This can be for good, this can be for not good. It can be positive or it can be negative. And this is what Vivian demonstrated in the movie also. She took control of her thoughts and she directed them towards a better life for herself rather than continuing the life that she had been defaulted into. We're the captains of our own ships. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. We are born with the gift of choice to choose for ourselves. It's unfortunate that many people give that gift away and allow their lives to be created by default by the beliefs of someone else. Many of us in this room have healed those beliefs that were given to us by others, be it family or other religious traditions or school or wherever we may have picked those up. But that's where we are. We're at choice. Build your confidence in your ability to design your life and to execute that plan. Build your confidence. Practice optimism every day. Practice optimism every day until it becomes who you are and the way you think, the way you speak, the way you believe, and the way that you operate in the world. And then use your very powerful imagination to visualize greater possibilities for you. Because until we can see it, feel it, experience it in our minds, we can't see, feel, and experience it in form. So we must visualize and use that powerful imagination that we have. The third core idea of the power of our thoughts is practical application. And this is where Holmes' message is so inspiring for us. He discovered and then taught us how to use our power of thought and choice proactively to design our lives. That's what's in that big, thick book that we teach from. He's teaching us how to do this. It is a life plan. It's a little complex, but it is a life plan. He cautioned us about wishing things were different. You ever been there? Gosh, I wish things were different. I wish it was easier. I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish. Well, that's not going to get us there. And he cautioned us about that. He says, wishing will not get us there. But he taught us the practice of aligning our thoughts with our desires that will get us there every single time. That's why it's the science of mind. It's because these practices work when we practice them the way they're taught. Excuse me. Holmes said mental work is always definite. A mental treatment is neither daydreaming, wistful wishing, or hallucination. It consists either of denying that which ought not to be and affirming that which ought to be, or silent recognition of perfection. It is always conscious, active, and dynamic. Imagine if Vivian had continued to only wish that her life was different. Would it have been different? Probably not. But she made the powerful choice to turn down Edward's offer of a different life and decided to take empowered action on her own until he kind of changed courses and had his own aha moment, but that's a different story. In his book, A New Design for Living, that Ernest Holmes wrote, this is a great book. If you've never read it, I highly recommend it. A New Design for Living. He says, our purpose in affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment, or right thinking is to stabilize our own thought, to think clearly, always understanding that all things are possible to the power greater than we are. I find it interesting that he says not only affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment, which we're familiar with, but he also says right thinking. Puts it right in there with science and with spiritual mind treatment, right thinking. And I think this is a clue to the importance of the power of our thoughts and how we choose to use them. Affirmative prayer and spiritual mind treatment, same thing. We use that to change our minds about a circumstance. That's really the purpose of prayer, is to change our own mind about the circumstance. And sometimes we can't see that. We get so caught up that we can't see the way through our circumstance. And when life is really, really tough, or we're really, really confused and we can't see it, that's where Daniel and I come in to help you. We can see that truth for you. We will know it and we will pray with you and for you, because there's one mind in consciousness. There's only one consciousness. And when any one of us knows it, it works for everyone. Ernest Holmes was famous for remote treatment. He would get telegrams, because they didn't have cell phones back in the day. He would get telegrams of people on the East Coast requesting prayer treatment. which he would do. And then he would get letters with large checks because they'd been healed or whatever needed to happen had happened. But he never saw their face. He knew their name, but that's all. That's all. Because there's one consciousness in which we all live, move, and have our being. So affirmative prayer changes our thinking about the situation so we can see it differently. We see it from a higher and a different perspective. Right thinking is what we strive for all the time. Right thinking is what we strive to do all the time. It's a way of living and being that keeps us in alignment with our source, alignment with our good, and in alignment with that power that is greater than we are. Now, right thinking is not just positive thinking. It's not just positive thinking. It's not just affirmations. It's not just holding a specific thought, holding a good thought. Have you ever been asked to hold a good thought or ever said, I'm holding a good thought? It's a nice thing to say, isn't it? What does it mean? And how long can you hold it before your mind wanders back to something else? That's why Ernest cautions us as practitioners to not take that on, because he says, no, that's wistful wishing. If you're praying for someone, you pray for them. You spend the time that it takes in consciousness to pray with them, to pray for them, to make that shift, to make that happen. It's not just hold a good thought. If I'm holding you in prayer, if Daniel's holding you in prayer, you're being held in prayer, because that's the commitment that he and I have made to you and to this teaching and to ourselves. So right thinking is not holding a thought, positive thinking and affirmation. It's a state of knowing the truth. It's the state of knowing the truth and eliminating ideas of lack and limitation and discord that we may have. But it's also holding our focus on what it is we prefer instead, because life abhors a vacuum. So we must focus on what it is that we want. We eliminate the negative and we focus on the positive. In other words, we turn away from what we don't want and we focus on what we do want, right? You've heard that before. So your external circumstances may change, and they frequently do, don't they? I mean, the world's always changing. Something's always going on. But true transformation requires the internal shift of our thinking and our beliefs. That's why we teach around here successful living from the inside out, is because it is an inside job. Transformation is an internal shift within us. How we think, the habits that we think with and about, how frequently let our minds wander, and where they wander to, and who goes with us. When we discover how to be more present, to be more fully aware in every single moment of everything that's going on, to catch ourselves thinking, because that's the only way we can change it, is to catch ourselves in the act, right? That's when we begin to open the channels for greater clarity, greater connection, and spiritual flow. That's when we begin to become self-aware. So this week, I want to invite you into some spiritual practices, spiritual practice of awareness. And it might be basic for some of us, but I'm going to invite you to revisit it anyway, because bad habits can creep back in, and this is a good habit. So throughout this week, I want you to notice your patterns of thinking. Pay attention and try to become an observer of your thoughts. When your mind wanders, is it going to the past? Is it going to the future? Because if it's wandering, it's not here. It's somewhere else. Where is it going? And what are those thoughts about the past or the future? Write down what you discover. Were you worried? Were you afraid? Were you regretful? Were you anxious? What were you feeling as you were over there in the past or in the future? What were you feeling in there? What energetic mind field are you wandering around in? Then write down what you would prefer instead in the here and now. Forgiving the past and allowing the future to unfold, because when it gets here, it's the now, right? It's no longer the future, it's the now. And from there, craft a positive present tense affirmation that accepts that preference that you prefer in the now, and read it every day until it becomes your new thought. Now, I know I have included affirmations a couple times this month, maybe 3 times this month. And I want to share with you something that Ernest Holmes said about affirmations. He said, "Our endeavor is to pass from idle wishing and negatively stated affirmations to a place where we stand side by side with the power greater than we are, as though we were in it and of it. This kind of affirmation admits no denial, no doubt in that affirmation when we stand side by side with the power that is greater than we are." Everybody know what a negative affirmation is? I am sick. I am tired. I am lonely. I am broke. Those are all of our negative affirmations that we use. And he's saying our endeavor is to pass from idle wishing and negatively stated affirmations. This week, I invite you to affirm your preferences and stand side by side with the power that is greater than you are, and allow it to unfold for you. So it is. Would you join me in prayer, please? As we turn within, just breathe. We let go of any outward seeking, noise, chaos, and just be present now in this moment, in this breath. And the recognition that there is only one. There is one power, one presence, one life, one source of the all good, one that is the infinite love, unconditioned, unconditional, pressed down to overflowing in, through, and as its creation. For it is that which is created all of itself simply because it loves so much that it just creates. And we are creations of it, of that one infinite mind, that one infinite life, that universal energy and power and source, presence, spirit. We are one in the one, standing not next to it, with it, in it, as it is in, through, and as us. There is only one. And so as we unify with that, and just breathe that in this morning, and the awareness of that oneness and what that means to be one in the one, not separate from it, but whole, perfect, and complete of it. Feeling that love, feeling that presence, feeling the joy, and just simply being present right here, right now, and now, and now. And so in this awareness, I affirm for each and every one of us, the Spirit opens our hearts this day, this week, to the greater influx of clarity and wisdom and wholeness and inspiration and ideas and intelligence, and to our own presence in the moment, our own connection with the divinity as we move through our life and our experience of others, and that each of us is a divine idea in the mind of God, expressing it in all of our connections and relationships as peace, as wholeness. We become the mirrors to all of those on our path, the mirrors reflecting the divine holiness, the divine good of God, the love, the peace. We are reflections of that. And the more that reflect it, the more of that gets reflected back. And so I accept peace this morning. I accept love. I accept joy. And I accept the complete and total perfect unfoldment of the future as right here, right now, present in this now moment. And I know for anyone that has anything on their heart this day, as they lift that into the consciousness of this prayer, whether they're in this room or online listening, we know that we're all one. And we know this consciousness is filled with love and light, and that whatever needs to be healed is healed. That which needs to be revealed is revealed with clarity, that abundance and prosperity flow, and creative expression is filled with divine ideas. And it is with gratitude and thanksgiving that we accept that prayer for each and every one and release it out into the action of law, knowing that it is done. We have typed in the correct coordinates, and it is ours now. It is complete. And we affirm this truth together by saying, and so it is.